Giannis the Freak Antetokounmpo is known as one of the most physically dominant players since the 80s and 90s in the NBA. Replicating Giannis Antetokounmpo's performances in NBA 2K25 is something that's truly special and unparalleled amongst all my players. Giannis isn't just a name now, he's a force both on offense and defense, capable of carrying a team from rookie status to league MVP and championship glory with the Milwaukee Bucks. His physical dominance, speed, and versatility have left an independable mark in the history of big men, particularly with power forwards. Now, with the recent buff to the dunk meter in NBA 2K25, slashing and finishing have become even more overpowered, which is exactly what we're going to be showcasing today with my Giannis Antetokounmpo 99 overall build. Now, this is one of the greatest, most dominant builds that you can actually create this year on Next Gen. Now, before we move any further, I just want to say thank y'all so much for the support. More so than anything, thank the Lord above, King Jesus, for another day and another opportunity. Comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from, so I can get back to you with a response. And if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the rich family. And last but definitely not least, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of today's gameplay. So being a slasher this year in NBA 2K25 is something that is truly rewarding, especially once you master the mechanics of dribbling and shooting with a lower 3-point rating. So my aim for this Giannis Antetokounmpo build is to just show you the raw performance of, what power forwards can actually do when you put your attributes towards the finishing primarily and also the defense. So not only did I want to ensure that I was the strongest player on the court at all times, but with this build, I also want to be able to say that I will get these elite dunk packages, upgraded pro dribble animations, upgraded passing styles with the best layup styles, and this makes you the most athletic player on the court at any given moment. And that is something that I feel like I really wanted to focus on primarily with this archetype. And the physicality of this build really reminds me of NBA legends like Shaquille O'Neal, but with a little bit of a modern twist. I didn't want to limit this build's shooting ability, so I've actually equipped it with at least an 85 mid-range shot. And for that three-pointer, I didn't focus too much on that in this video, but I did go with the high 60s and 70s, and this makes a huge difference being an offensive threat. So once you can master the dribbling, the finishing with the dunk meter, leading in offense and scoring points really becomes significantly easier. So especially when you've got your jump shot down on a build with lower shooting attributes, this makes a huge difference, and this really does force defenses to literally guard you just about anywhere on the court, and I think that opens up the lane time and again. So with contact dunks on this build, you're literally unstoppable inside of the arc. Now for my slasher 6'10", there's a noticeable difference in increase in success, and I can say the window for contact dunks, I feel like it's even bigger as you get taller, and specifically for posterizers. This year's 6'10s have actually become the meta high end. I created this build about 2 months ago, well before the trend caught on, so seeing the fact that 6'10 builds have become a favorite amongst a lot of players this year is a huge win. Not only does this height actually unlock a good amount of the best dribble animations, but you do get access to some of the best finishing animations, a lot of the great jump shots, releases, and bases. And even without the takeovers, I can say that there's a noticeable difference in actually getting contact dunks on taller builds, especially if you equip the correct animations. This build is actually faster than it's projected when it comes towards the actual attributes, and throughout this video you can actually see this on display. Now, if you want the full breakdown build tutorial, let's get this video to 100 likes, and I will be sure to drop y'all every single attribute, animation, and also the badges that I run in this build. But a critical part of maintaining this build's dominance, I gotta say, is definitely that strength, which I've actually maximized to a 99 by acquiring the Great Wall Takeover ability. That pushes this up from an 85 all the way up to an 89, and it really comes down to how you work with the attributes on this build. This one, it's not just about replicating Giannis' physical play, but it's all about being able to be versatile, and I think that's exactly what Giannis embodies. Now, you can do almost anything inside of the post, shoot, and also be a playmaker, so I can say this makes it one of the best all-around archetypes this year. Now, I want to hear it from y'all. What kind of build are you running this year? Is it taller or shorter than 6'10"? The height has actually become a fan favorite across every single game mode that I've seen, and it's not just about being versatile and finishing and shooting shooting, but I've seen so many different content creators and honestly just players in general talking about this height, and I think it's a fan favorite across all game modes, and really due to its versatility in all 4 aspects from the shooting all the way down to the defense. So as we progress throughout the 2K25 cycle, I think we're only going to see this trend grow even more, and really I feel like this creates, you know, an opening for slashers that still want to be able to dribble but be all around. This is going to be the perfect year for that. So if y'all want to create a slasher like this one that, you know, not only can dominate, but this one overwhelms your opponent in whichever game mode that you do decide to run. Personally, I do like to run the ones, and I consider this build to be a true demigod when it comes towards being a slasher. It can do a little bit of everything, and with the right takeovers you can reach a 99 plus when it comes towards your driving dunk, the mid-range shot, block, interior defense, and of course the strength. So I wanted just to show y'all a little bit of what this build can do on both ends of the floor, and if you're still looking for a build that can pretty much overwhelm the defense, look no further. Let's get this video to 100 likes and I'll be sure to bring that to y'all. I love the fact that this is one of the most athletic builds on the court, and this year I actually believe that these kind of archetypes, when crafted correctly, are going to be one of the most overpowered, especially for slashers that can shoot, and that really opens up the floor for you to play any type of game mode, whether you're new or a veteran to 2K. Now, I would say success on this build really comes down to your personal play style, the attributes that you want to shoot for, the badges, and also the takeovers that you choose. You know, everyone's preference will be different, but as long as you're chasing what you want to unlock and at least achieve somewhat of a 6'10" build, I think it's going to serve you well. I really do consider this height to be a demigod height for 2K25. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, and I've actually experimented with smaller builds that do maintain a 99 speed with the ball, also the ball handle, and I feel like 6'10" builds move just as fast, if not faster, due to the body frame. Now, the movement on taller builds this year, I think it's honestly smoother than shorter builds, and that makes a huge impact on my approach to dribbling. And if you can combine this with slashing and defense on a taller build, in my opinion, that's the best strategy to really dominate 2K25 this year. I can say it's the meta for all archetypes because you're bound to encounter at least one 6'10" in every matchup, especially with how effective these builds are this year. I don't think there's any other height that can compare to 6'10", anywhere from 5'9" all the way up to 7'3". I've seen so many players use 6'10" builds in the rec, the pro-am, the park, and I can say one of my favorite aspects of playing with this kind of build is how it can actually capture the true playstyle of Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know, especially when driving to the basket, you can actually absorb a lot of content, and really you do have a little bit of a shooter's touch on this build. You know, it's not just about being physical, but it's really all about being able to do a little bit of everything, and I think that's exactly what Giannis brings to his team. And this one really challenges you to, you know, play a little bit different from what you are used to seeing for the meta. You know, I don't think it's just about shooting or speed, but it's all about the physical attributes and how you can actually use them to manipulate your opponents, and whether they're faster or even stronger, I definitely think this build is well equipped to really beat just about any matchup. Now, I challenge every single one of you to experiment with a build like this or create your own inspired Giannis Antetokounmpo build, and I feel like realistically, man, when you try out different play styles, it really opens up your mind to the way that, you know, pro play is implemented this year. It actually does allow you to get some pretty smooth animations, especially if you know how to activate them. Now, if you want some of the animations that I'm using in this video, I'll be sure to put a little pop-up card as well as the video link in the description down below. Your responses in the comments have been amazing, man, and I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you, the Rich family. With this archetype, I can say that I have come across so many different play styles as well as builds themselves, all the way from 5'9" builds up to 7'3" centers, and even when it comes towards builds in between, this is going to be an archetype today that can pretty much guard just about any position 1 through the 5 and really dominate on that offensive side as well. Now, when it comes towards being a slasher, you definitely want to make sure that you can shoot, whether that's from the mid-range shot or three-pointer. I definitely made sure that on this build, I can be a deadly shooter from that mid-range shot, and I think that's going to be perfect if you want to be some type of a hybrid post scorer that can do a little bit of dribbling. This is going to be a perfect build for that. And you know, man, I just truly want to say that I'm so thankful and grateful for my Lord above, Jesus Christ, allowing me to build the most positive 2K Christ-like minded community here on YouTube and in the 2K community as a whole. So I just want to say thank every single one of you for supporting. God bless you as well. And comment down TG and where you're tuning in from so I can get back to you with the response. If you want to run it up together and play, be sure to add my PSN. Y'all can see it as well as my 2K name. So I personally have found it most fun when I'm playing on some type of slasher, and especially for 6'10" builds, that does give me the vibe of 2K15. 6'10" point forwards. There was nothing like them back in the day, and I feel like we get a small glimpse of that in NBA 2K25 today. So before we get out of here, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.